Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this Dell G715 7590. Right, so we're going to be using a JIS 0 screwdriver to remove all the screws from the bottom. Alright, let's go ahead and remove all of these. Alright, you want to keep them in order because they can be different size, shape, and length. The way I do that is I put them flat side down like that on my desk in the pattern I remove them. So we got 4 here, 2 on each side, or 1 on each side, and then 3 down here. Alright, let's go ahead and remove all these. The computer's overheating. Oh, it looks like these actually stay in place. So just undo the screws and then you should hear it click, and that's how you know that the screw's out all the way. Okay, and that's supposed to be to help remove the bottom cover, I believe. So let's go ahead and get the rest out. Alright, if this video helps you out, please make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Alright, other than that, if you can't, it'd be very helpful if you can watch a few of my other videos and comment on them because YouTube likes to see that. Alright, anyways, finish getting all the rest of these screws out. Then we'll go ahead and pop the bottom cover off and should be good to go. Alright, let's grab these other few off. Okay, make sure that you make sure the screwdriver doesn't skip and strip the screws. Okay. Alright, so there we go. Let's go ahead. You can see these screws pulled the bottom cover up a bit. So if it's not up enough, you can kind of undo the screws a bit more. Okay, and then we can go ahead and pull this up just like this. Alright, so once you get that side, we're going to work our way around and just continue pulling up, and it's actually coming up pretty easily. So we might be able to kind of just wiggle this. Let's see here, and there we go. Alright, then we got that open. As you can see, these two screws are held in with some little metal washers there. Okay, you can see a lot of dust in here, so much dust in here. We're going to be redoing the thermal paste on here. So I'm going to basically brush this using a toothbrush. I'll hold the middle and then kind of just brush it, and then I'll use a powerful air blower to blow this out. I'll probably end up having to take the fans out. We'll see if the fans come out with just these 3 screws that are holding it in. And then I'll go over the components that I see inside. Alright, let me clean the dust off real quick and I'll be back. Alright, see you guys in a bit. Alright, I'm back. Let's go ahead and get this open again. You can see the dust much less. Okay, set that aside. You can see this is much cleaner. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead and take a look. I'm not going to be pulling things out too much because the main thing is to redo the thermal paste. But you can see there's an M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD here. Looks like there's 2 screws holding it in place. Alright, you can see the RTC, real-time clock, CMOS, BIOS, whatever you want to call it, battery here. If you need a replacement battery for this, you can see what the connector kind of looks like. I actually have a supplier for these batteries that is giving, I believe they said 15% discount, 10-15%, something like that. I can post a link there if you want, affiliated link. Alright, you got a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive here. You can put an SSD in there if you want. You can actually see they even put instructions here how to take it apart. But basically there's 3 screws holding this tray in place, and then it looks like the 4 screws are mounting the hard drive on there. So remove the 3 silver screws, and then you want to get this connector off. You can see I can kind of pull that connector there, but basically be very careful because the cable goes underneath the hard drive. Actually, what's that black tab? The silver one looks like the cable. I'm not sure what this black one here is. I've never seen that before. Is this a pull tab or is that an actual cable? Well, either way, I don't want to really mess with it too much because the main thing they're having issues with is the cooling issue. Okay, you got a little cable here with these little flip latches. You can flip these latches up and then pull the cable out. Again, I don't want to mess with stuff that doesn't need to be worked on. We do need to take the battery out before messing with the heatsink because there's quite a bit of risk when taking out such a large metal object from the computer. So let's go ahead and remove these screws. Okay. If you're not sure how to remove the SSD and the hard drive, you can watch a few of my other videos on other laptop models. Basically the same idea. Pretty simple and easy to remove. Alright, shouldn't really be an issue to remove those, but again, because the customer just needs the heat issue, I don't want to mess around with other stuff. Alright, we're going to remove the battery here. So this lifts up, and this looks like it has a little pull up tab. Let me actually zoom in here a bit so you can see better. Okay, so battery connector's right here. It looks like you just pull this one straight up, right? Let me make sure. Yeah, okay, so basically just grabbing the battery connector here. Okay, get underneath, there's this clear tab, and pull straight up, and there you go. Battery disconnects just like that. Okay, so then we're just going to lift the whole battery up and out. There you can see what the bottom looks like, and the battery model number is right there, TF22N. So if you need to replace the battery, that's what you would get. All right. Okay, so you can see there's 2 slots for RAM here. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and take a look. Basically, you pull these 2 tabs to the side, the RAM pops up like that, and then you can go ahead and pull it out. And here you can see the RAM is PC42666V. Come on, there you go, PC42666V. So we're gonna go ahead and put this stick of RAM back in. But basically, you can put any PC42666V RAM in there. These are 2 8 gig sticks. You can get 2 16 gig sticks if you want to get 32 gigs total. Alright, here's the keyboard connector here. This has a little flip latch that you flip up, that little white part, but you do have to peel this tape off, and then you can easily pull that out. It looks like there's a keyboard backlight connector here, but for some reason they're not using that. Alright, you got the touchpad, trackpad connector here. Same thing, there's this flip latch. You flip that up, and then you can easily pull the cable out. This also looks like a keyboard backlight connector, this one, so I don't know why they have 2. Alright, okay, so this is a pull tab to help remove the hard drive connector, it looks like, and then this is the actual hard drive connector here. Alright, what else? This cable, as I mentioned earlier, for the SD card slot and the USB port, this board is separate. You got the DC jack charge port connector here. Looks like there's just 1 screw to remove, and then you can lift this out and then pull this connector out. Wireless card here. Alright, comes out like the SSD, 1 screw. It pops up slightly and then you can pull it back, or like the RAM. Alright, there's 2 antennas to remove those. After you remove this screw in the bracket, you just go from the tail and then pop it straight up. You got the LCD LVDS connector here with a little flip latch. Also, there's adhesive on top that you'd have to peel off this way first. But if you need to remove that, make sure after disconnecting the battery, open up the laptop and press and hold the power button for at least 15 seconds. We're going to do that before we remove the heatsink here. There's also a grounding cable wire here underneath this screw that you'll have to remove as well. Alright, let me actually zoom out a little bit. Speaker connectors here. This has a connector where you kind of just grab the wings and you kind of just wiggle it and to pull it out. I'm going to leave that in there. And then there's a wire that goes along, there's a wire that goes along the bottom of the speaker to connect to the other speaker over here. Alright, and I think that's about it. All the rest of the components seem to be attached to the motherboard. We are going to have to disconnect these fan connectors here. So I'm going to get in here with my thumbnails at the edge of the connector. Let's see if we can go ahead and pop this out. There's not much space to grab this, but let's see. Yeah, so I'm getting my fingernails in the gap between the connector and the board connector, and we're kind of just wiggling to pull, but it looks like it's going to be difficult. So let's see if we can take these screws out first. There's 3 screws here using a JS1 screwdriver, and let's see if we can get these out. If we can lift the screw or the fan up first, then we might not even have to worry about it too much. But let's see. Okay, 3rd screw. There we go. Now, yep, this fan comes out. and it slides out that way, and you can see we can actually have access to this. Not bad. Oh, I forgot to mention, after disconnecting the battery, well, I did mention, but I didn't do it. Open up the laptop and press and hold the power button for at least 15 seconds, again, to drain any residual power. This makes it a lot safer to work on the computer, and especially if you're going to mess around with anything that might short out. Okay, so we're just going to hold it for probably 10 more seconds just to be extra safe. This thing was super dusty. I should probably dust the inside as well here because there's a lot of dust all over this thing. Okay, but I'll probably clean that up once we're done here. Okay, so again, the fan now pops up easily. You can kind of pull this wire away a little bit, and then we can get in here and kind of just wiggle to pull this connector out. You can use some pliers if you want, but I find using fingernails and just wiggling it like that works best. So there's the fan. Okay. Then we'll get the other side as well. Okay, another 3 screws. This fan is mirrored, so they're not the same fan. You can't just get 2 of the same ones. So if you need to replace the fan, keep that in mind. Alright, so we can get these 3 screws out. The foam helps keep the airflow through properly. When I blew the thing with the air blower, it kind of tucked underneath. It shouldn't be under there, so make sure the foams are on top. Okay, anyways, we got that. I'm turning it sideways so I have a little bit better of an angle. Let me wiggle this. It's kind of stuck in there. Huh. Why is this side stuck? Oh, there we go. There's a little adhesive on here that was kind of sticking. All right, we're going to tilt it that way. And can we even access this? It's really hard to access this with the way it's designed. So, I don't know. Let's see if I can somehow get in it with this tool. Yeah, I don't know about that. Wow, this fan, as you can see, I'm kind of like wiggling the connector to try and get it out, but I don't really have access to this side of the connector too good, so I don't know. You can try grabbing the wires, but usually that's a little bit risky, but you can see we can kind of wiggle it. Okay, so I don't know. What else? We can try and use these nose pliers to grab on both sides of the connector and then kind of wiggle and pull it. But it's a little bit slippery, so I don't know. This is really tough to get out. Okay, kind of make sure you get a good grip and wiggle as you pull. This doesn't want to come out. I might have to lift the heatsink out and then tuck this underneath because this connector is really difficult. If your fan is dead, I guess you can just grab the wires and rip it up. But because we're trying to salvage and reuse it, we don't want to mess with it like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and lift out the heatsink first then. We got 3 screws here for the GPU die and then 4 screws here for the CPU. There's no exact specific order you need to undo these. Just undo them. You'll hear it click. Okay, just like that. Just like that. Okay, they do have numbers on it for when you screw this back down. But for taking it out, you don't really have to worry about it too much. Okay, so now we got all the screws. Should be able to kind of lift this. If it doesn't lift, don't pull on this too hard because you don't want to bend these pipes. You can kind of like wiggle it side to side and kind of rotate it. That's the safest option, okay? And then if you can even grab over here and kind of lift this way. So here you can see we can lift this out. I'm going to hold on to this and we're going to get this fan to thread through, hopefully. Yep, just like that. Okay. Now that this is out of the way, we can go ahead and pull this connector out. Here you can see the video GPU memory here. You can see they have thermal pads that kind of help transfer the heat. And then there's so much thermal paste on here. They always put way too much. You can see how it overflowed over the edges. That's not good. We're going to scrape that stuff off and then clean this up with some isopropyl alcohol and paper towels. Okay. Again, we do have access to the fan connector now, so if we want, we can go ahead and get in there. Let me actually zoom in and see if I can show how I remove this. Okay, but basically I get my fingernails in the little edges of this here. Oop. And we kind of just wiggle this as we kind of pull, and you can actually see the connector coming out, and there we go. Make sure you plug this in right side up. You can see how the connector has those metal pins showing. You don't want to accidentally plug it in upside down, especially if you buy a replacement fan and it comes like that. All right, you don't want to accidentally plug it in wrong. Okay, so we'll get this little bit of dust off here. Use the toothbrush to clean it a little bit better. Clean up this as well if there's dust in there. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to clean this stuff up. Again, usually, oh sorry, I wasn't even showing you how I was cleaning the dust. But anyways, I just use like this tool. You can use any kind of non-conductive scrapey tool and scrape up this excess gunk. And we're just going to have to get this and throw it in the trash. So, scrape up that stuff. Okay. Just like that. Okay. I'll scrape this down like that. Get the edges. Okay. Just like this. Alright. So you can see we're just scraping this up. And this stuff is pretty like crunchy. That's how you know it's kind of not good. Usually it should be like a grease or a paste, but this is all like dried. And usually that happens when the stuff hits like 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, so we scraped up that. We're going to scrape up this side as well. And then we're going to have to turn this upside down over a trash can to dump off all these bits. Okay, scrape that all up. This one's a bit more pasty, not as bad. GPU one was quite a bit worse. Okay. Alright, so there we go. I'm going to go ahead and turn this upside down over the trash can and get all this stuff out. And we're going to do the same thing with the heatsink. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing here. So give me a second, let me do that, and I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. Let's go ahead and scrape off this stuff. You can see how crumbly it is. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and scrape this up. Yeah, look how crusty this stuff is. Alright. There we go. Alright, let me dump this stuff off as well, and I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. So now we just need some paper towel and isopropyl rubbing alcohol so we can clean out the heatsink. Alright, grab that. Pour some isopropyl rubbing alcohol on this thing. Okay, and then we're just gonna go ahead and clean this off. Alright, wow, you can see all that. Look, why is it so like bluish colored? We can actually even pour some on there. Okay, so we can pour it on. Just like that. Whatever thermal paste they use is like blue tinted, kind of interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead and wipe that off. go. We might do like 2 runs there to make sure it's clean. Alright, so we got this one. I'm gonna wipe that as well. Alright. Take that, flip it around, and clean it up some more. Alright. There we go. Let's get a new piece of paper towel and repeat. Try and get it really clean. Okay. The main part you want to worry about is the part that will touch the die, the shiny part on the motherboard. Okay. Look at that blue stuff coming off there. Alright, so we're going to have to hold this down and clean it up some more. Alright, look at all that blue stuff there. Maybe we should do another one just to be safe. That's a lot of blue coming off. Okay, so this again. That's a lot better. Okay, let's go ahead and do this one now. This one probably is going to have a lot more blue stuff because it still seems cloudy. Alright, there we go. Oh, did this thermal pad fall off of here? Might have to figure out where that thermal pad came from. Might have to rewatch my video to make sure I get that thermal pad in the right spot. I don't want to mess it up. Give me a second, I'll be back. Alright, so it actually came from right there. Alright, anyways, I got all of that. Let's go ahead and grab the computer with the motherboard so that we can go ahead and get all of that back cleaned up. Alright, so we'll take the computer now. Here we have the CPU and GPU dies. And we're just going to get some rubbing alcohol again and clean that up. Okay, just like this. Okay. Make sure the CPU die and GPU die are nice and clean. Looks good. Try it up a bit. And then we're gonna blow off all the lint. Use a toothbrush and kind of brush it a little, clean it up. Okay. So there we go. Now what we gotta do is, well, let me clean it one more time a little bit, and then we are going to apply new thermal paste, get the fans back in, and we should be good to go. Okay, so one more time. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to get the thermal paste, and should be good. Hopefully we got enough here. This is somewhat of a big die. This one's smaller. This one will use about the size of a grain of rice. And going like this. Okay. That's plenty. When you put the heatsink on, it smashes super, super thin. Alright, so just like that. And you want it kind of stretched along here. When you go to put the heatsink back down, then it will completely smash it flat and it will cover the entire thing. So there we go. Then this side, we're going to put quite a bit more. Usually this you can use about the size of a pea, like that. That's actually probably more than enough. And then we're going to, same thing, kind of stretch it out a bit so that when the thing goes on top, it will go stretch itself out. Okay, just like that. Okay. And again, we're just going to round it out so that way it can cover the entire die. Okay, just like this. Now we can get a close-up look. This is what it looks like. You kind of have it raised up like a mound there, and like that. Okay, and let's go ahead now and get the heatsink back on, and then we should be good to go. Get the fans on, and we'll be done. All right, so let me zoom out a bit more. Okay. All right, let's grab the heatsink here. Okay, so we got the heatsink. Okay, and this has all these little pieces that it goes on. Basically, we're gonna flip this back over. Make sure the screw mounts line up. Okay, you can also line up this as well. That might be easiest to line up these 2 points. Yep. All right, and then what we're gonna do, they're numbered, so this is number 1. We're gonna grab that, twist it backwards. Here, click, 1, 2, 3. We've got number 2 here. Click, 1, 2, 3. We got number 3 right here. Click, 1, 2, 3. Number 4 over here. Click, 1, 2, 3. Number 5. Click, 1, 2, 3. Number 6. Click, 1, 2, 3. Number 7. Click, 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to go over each one. 1, 2, 3. 2. 1, 2, 3. 3. 1, 2, 3. 4. 1, 2, 3. 5. 1, 2, 3. 6. 1, 2, 3. And 7. 1, 2, 3. Then we're just going to tighten everything down. Okay. Okay. 7. All right, and these things do have springs in them that continue pushing force down. So as it heats up and warms up, it'll actually continue pushing and spreading the thermal paste completely flat. All right, so next we got the fans to go back in. So let's go ahead and line this up and get that connector back in first, because it's a little bit hard to reach. Okay, once you get it in, you want to pinch both together, just like that. I don't know if you can see, but basically I used my fingernails and pinched it like that. All right, we're going to get the fan back into place, just like this. Get the 3 screws back in. Okay, that one. This one. And the last one here for this side. Alright, then we got this side. We're going to get that fan back in as well, and then we should be good once we get the battery connected. Same thing with the pins face up. Alright, and we're going to go ahead and, if we can, pinch the 2 pieces. There we go. Get the fan back into place. Get the 3 screws in. 1, 2, and the last one here, 3. Alright, there we go. So we've got both fans back in. Now we need to get the battery back in. So just line this all up. Okay. Drop it into place, and this connector just clicks in, but we can go ahead and put the screws in before we do that. Okay. One in. If you're not able to figure out how to remove any of the components, like the SSD and hard drive or something like that, and you can't find a video of mine that shows how, let me know and I will find a video and send that to you. but it should be pretty simple and straightforward. Alright, there's the 4 battery screws. Alright, looks like this is supposed to follow this groove area to get the speaker in, but this wire was just out here. I don't know if maybe this goes into those grooves, so I don't want to mess around with it and then end up smashing this cable, so I'll just leave it how it was there. Okay, let's zoom out a bit more. Okay, good. Nope, more, too much. Okay, now we just got to get the bottom cover back on. So to get that on, you want to start with the bottom here because it has clips on it, so we'll line that up and then we'll click that down into place just like that. You might have to lift this side up to help. There we go. Double check it looks good. Okay, work our way up the sides here. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and tighten that screw in. Again, we need to switch back to the JAS 0. I like to, again, twist it backwards, hear it click, and then tighten it down. Okay, get that in. Alright, this one. Oh, looks like it's not sitting straight, so you might have to pull this up a little bit. And then there we go, get that in. Tighten that down. Good to go. Alright, make sure everything is clicked in. And again, now get the last of the screws in and we should be good to go. Again, hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, please make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. If you can't contribute that way, it helps a lot to watch more of my videos and leave comments on those because that's what the algorithm likes to see. Other than that, thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next one. I will power this on just so you can see, though I didn't even check if it worked originally before the... Wait, there's one thing I forgot. I didn't click down the battery connector, did I? Okay, let's go ahead and pop this back out. I put this cover and the screws back on prematurely. Pretty sure I didn't pop the battery connector back down. So we're going to go ahead and open this thing up again, second time. Good thing this one's designed to pop open pretty easily. Okay, just like that. And there we go. Alright, let's get the battery connector in properly. Line it up. Line it up and then click it down. Alright. So if you're wondering, there's a little part above here that's on the connector below, and then this part, the battery's here. So there's a little bit, it's not like completely flat on top. Alright, anyways, now let's go ahead and get this back in properly. Okay, again, we do have to kind of do this at an angle to get the bottom cover back on, to get the bottom part to seat properly. There we go. And click that all in. And get these last 2 screws. I'm going to loosely fit them first to make sure both go in. Okay, tighten that down. Tighten that down. Good. Click all this into place. Alright, and let's get the rest in. And again, that's pretty much all there is to it. You're welcome to stay as I get the screws in, and then we will power it up, assuming it works. Okay. I don't think they gave me the charger for this, so hopefully it powers up and hopefully has battery life. Otherwise, we're just going to end up stopping there. So these last few screws in. And then we'll see if it powers on or not. Okay, let's take a look. And I do need to kind of dust the inside because it's pretty dusty in here. But we'll power this on. I do see the power light coming on, so we should be good. Give it a few seconds, and there we go. All right, so that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna dust off the inside for them, and should be good to go. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, let's drop this. Bye.